Okay, listen. The travel guy didn't want to answer what his worst trip was. Angela didn't want to answer about Uncle Sam across the street in Congress. We've got to get some answers. Oh, I know. How about one from you? This is Quest. You make the call. Okay, the date. April the 6th, the year 1937. Could you believe that? 1937. And Billy D. Williams looks that good. Billy D. Williams. Yeah, you recognize him, right? But do you know what character he played in the Star Wars movies? I'd like to have both names. You don't have to spell them. And if you kind of pronounce them correctly and you're the first person to call, the Star Wars names are not always the easiest thing in the world to do. What character did Billy D. Williams play in Star Wars? And you Star Wars fans know all this stuff. Oh, what are you going to get? Well, it seems only appropriate that if I'm asking about classic movies like Star Wars movies, that we send you to the Phoenix Film Festival. The 10th anniversary begins on the 8th, just a couple of days from now, and it's going on at Harkin Scottsdale 101, and you have 2 tickets to go big times ahead for the movie lovers. You get a couple of flex passes. Hi, Doctor.
Hello, Pat. How are you doing?
Well, I'm doing fine, but then again, I wouldn't tell you if I wasn't feeling well because I'm afraid that you would go through a treatment here, and I don't like to do that. I'm talking about their health. Dr. David Arneson, who's a naturopath, and we're going to be concentrating on a couple of conditions that have a kind of mystery associated with them. First of all, define, if you will, osteoarthritis. What does that mean?
Well, osteoarthritis is inflammation of the joint space on knuckles or wrist or knees. It's
wherever there are joints.
Yeah, what we commonly call wear and tear arthritis, repetitive motions, people who are contractors, steel mill workers, people who do a lot of physical labor in life, carpenters in their wrist, or even servers in restaurants that get this osteoarthritis in their hands from just using their hands all the time.
All right, now define the condition that my wife said, or my wife was told by a doctor doesn't exist. Okay? Fibromyalgia.
Okay, fibromyalgia is a condition or a set of symptoms. We don't have a known etiology or a cause for fibromyalgia, but we do know it is an immune system or an inflammatory process that creates pain. Where you have pain, you have inflammation. There's been a lot of speculation whether it's virally caused or bacterially caused, but we do know that the people who are under a lot of stress, typically women, generally 30s and 40s, mid-30s and 40s, that seems to crop up. They're just exquisite tender points on the body. You can check them. There's a number of them if you have them, and we can't diagnose you with anything else. We call it fibromyalgia.
Well, in fact, a doctor did tell my wife, who at the time was suffering from kind of mystery aches and pains, and she said, well, could it be fibromyalgia? I've been reading about that. And he gave her one of these.
Right.
You know, foolish patient.
Right.
A layperson comes in and starts talking about medicine. To me, I'm the doctor.
Right.
And it's all in your head.
Well, it's a real condition. It affects people. We don't know the cause. And it's kind of like rheumatoid arthritis, too. We say, well, we know what this disease is, but the truth is we don't know why joint space and stuff, why we have this hyperactive immune response in rheumatoid arthritis. We have never defined what the cause of that is. And yet we can call that rheumatoid arthritis, and we definitely have a diagnosis that goes with it. So very similar to fibromyalgia, that we don't have known causes for some of these disease states, but they're all inflammatory disease states.
Okay, well now, as if by magic, all of a sudden this product appeared on the set, so I probably should ask you about it. CMO, LiquidCMO. To tell you the truth, before I began reading, before your appearance, I'd never heard of this.
I didn't hear about it until last summer.
Oh, is it that new? Is it being tested now?
No.
Is it being prescribed?
It's actually a supplement, a nutritional supplement that's been around. It was brought forward in 1972, and it's been actively used on people since 1996. Dr. Harry Dial, working through National Health Institutes, that found that he couldn't give certain mice arthritis, and so then he started looking for the causative effect for that, and then he pulled this out of the mice, and when he put it in mice that had arthritis, it cured them.
Why? What is it in CMO that is effective with patients who have arthritis? And I'm assuming it's also applicable to fibromyalgia.
Well, if we take a look at some of the things that people do, like aspirin, ibuprofen, and Tylenol, a lot of the autoimmune drugs like methotrexate and some of these more caustic things, and or one of the other essential fatty acids that we use a lot in inflammation, fish oils, omega-3s, omega-6. There's a number of inflammatory signaling that comes from white blood cells or cellular tissue that's been damaged that signals up, if you will, you think the white blood cells that react to inflammation, these molecules, cytokines or whatever you want to call them, actually the bugle call to bring up more white blood cells to attack this area of damage or inflammation. And what we find with CMO is actually another essential fatty acid or fatty acid esters. And what these do is kind of like aspirin in some ways, in a different way and a different mechanism, but we interfere with this signaling, this cellular signaling, and we block these productions of cytokines and leukotrienes so then we can reduce the inflammation, so that we can give the person some relief from the pain.
Okay, now you're a naturopath. Can I also request this from my allopathic, my MD doctor, or do I need a doctor at all?
Well, actually, this product, if you go online, you can order it from a number of different places. The problem that we saw when I was first introduced to it was what is the quality and the quantity per dose, and how is that standardized? And this product actually, that's the two most important factors. If we're going to use this molecule, I need to know what's in a dose. If it's a tablespoon, how many milligrams of the active molecule do I want? I want to know what the purity is.
And I know somebody else who wants to know too. Vicki Shelton is here because she's somebody who went into a doctor's office and somebody said, you know what, this is what's wrong with you, and we'll find out what the results were because you're about to meet Vicki in just a moment on the McMahon Group. Joining Dr. David Arneson and McMahon here on the McMahon Group is Vicki Shelton. And Vicki, talk to us about your experiences with what we've been talking about.
With fibromyalgia. I was diagnosed in 1998. It was a fluke. My doctor's RN had gone to a seminar, and he says, do you trust me? And I'm like, sure. And he examined me, and he goes, I think I know what's wrong with you. I had 16 of the 18 tender points that they were claiming you had to have at that time.
Is it different now?
Oh, yeah, tremendously different. I had to quit 2 jobs because of it.
Well, what is it like? I mean, I don't have any idea on a personal basis, and I only know that my wife, as I said before, had been experiencing some muscular pain and some discomfort, and she didn't know whether it was fibromyalgia or not. Why were you suspicious?
I was in pain all the time. And you don't know really what the level of pain is until you don't have it anymore. It was like having the flu all the time. I hurt from head to toe. My kids would try to tickle me, and I'd end up crying and end up with bruises. Somebody come up and try to rub your shoulders, like sometimes somebody comes up behind you and rubs your shoulders, and I would break into tears. I was hurting all the time.
And what kind of medications had you tried? What kind of treatments have you tried up to that time?
I have been on 60 different medications that I can list. They started out with antidepressants.
Because it was all in your head.
It was all in my head. That is what I've heard over and over again. And just as your wife, I'd go into the doctor and say, what about this? Could it be? And they'd be like, just because you read a book doesn't mean that it's going to help you. That they're just trying to sell a product. And I've heard that several times. I've been on anti-inflammatories, antibiotics even at one point in time, muscle relaxers, let's see, pain relievers. I had literally a size 13 shoebox full of medication at one time, and I've thrown them all away.
About 5 minutes ago during the break, I said, "How are you, Vicki?" And you said, "Fine." Why?
I said, great.
Why are you?
I feel great.
Why are you great?
I'm great. A neighbor told me that they know of this product, the LiquidCMO, that they think would help me, and I told him he was crazy, that there was no help. And I thought about it for a few days, and I figured in 2 years my kids are going to be grown and out of the house, and I'm going to be sitting on the couch going, what do I do now? So I took a chance and I tried it. And within a week, I was able to get up off the floor by myself without assistance. I carry my own laundry baskets now without saying, oh, boys, you need to do this for me.
Is that common, that kind of reaction after a week?
Well, it's one of my first experiences with the CMO as far as fibromyalgia is one of the reasons that we actually decided to push this thing forward and take a bigger look and open up this sort of pilot study so that we could take a look at how people responded to the CMO versus rheumatoid arthritis, osteoarthritis, fibromyalgia. So the study will include there's 130 patients. We hope they're relatively even, male to female reactions, medications that they may be on.
Have you found side effects?
Not seen any.
Wow. Well, all right. Now, you know that anybody who suffers from any kind of pain, chronic headaches, body aches, whatever, they're desperate to try anything that will work. And I don't play around with these folks because we invite you here to help them.
Right.
Right.
So we want to know then where it is you get it and how much it costs, because I don't want somebody all of a sudden building their hopes up and saying, well, wait a minute, that's not covered by my insurance for pharmaceuticals, and I can't afford it, so I still have to go through the pain and agony.
You bet. Well, the formula is being produced by Herbal Vitality. It's a company whose family's been in the pharmaceutical business for over 40 years and putting together these things in the herbal and supplement business for 12 to 13 years. My role in the study is to medically monitor the people. I'm not involved in this financially. I don't have any financial interest in this product. But I do know that the first bottle they're charging $92 for. One of the reasons for that is to give them a vested interest in this. And the second bottle they get for free. And the problem, of course, is if you give them free and then we lose patients.
Yeah.
But somebody has a vested interest in this. That's my understanding of why this is doing.
I want to start with the second bottle. But anyway, listen, you can find out information, though, and you can go to that website to find out, and then you make up your own mind and find out. And by the way, if you do get relief, or if you don't get relief, let us know here at aztv.com, okay? Because we're always interested in you.